In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Of course, I am the host or the gatekeeper of this internet ministry. On YouTube, I am known as the mighty AngelsnupnupSEVEN, your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I hope you enjoy the video that follows this introduction. Again, peace forever and always, and respect you.
Hi, my name is Ayana, and I am the founder of Black Atheists of America Incorporated. We are a non-profit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between atheism and the black community. Critical thinking plays an instrumental part in closing this gap and building a stronger community. Genetically, race does not exist, yet racism is alive and well and continues to wreak havoc on the black community. Because race does not exist, it cannot possibly be the cause of racism. Instead, irrational thinking is the cause of racism. Irrationality causes employers to turn away qualified candidates based solely on their skin color. It causes people to refuse necessary medical treatment. And I can go on and on. The point is that when a person is not able to reasonably identify relevant information or distinguish between reality and fiction, that person's brain is not functioning properly and is likely to produce false beliefs, which in turn lead to undesirable results. To effectively fight racism, we must sharpen our critical thinking skills. Black Atheists of America is in the process of developing school programs which foster critical thinking in elementary level children. Additionally, our Science Cube program will donate supplies to public high schools in an effort to better their science programs. We will continue our interviews which focus on issues that impact the black community. This fall, we will be hosting seminars and filming our first documentary. We are therefore asking that you help us by becoming a member of our organization. Please visit our website for more information at www.black-atheist.com. Thank you for your time.
Why we still got monkeys?
What is atheism? In the most fundamental sense of the word, atheism is without gods, or a disbelief in supernatural beings. You often see the word stretched to include the free-thinking community, rational thought, critical thinking, or sometimes even the scientific community. I wanted to use this video to dispel some of the misconceptions about atheism. So the first one is my all-time favorite, which is devil worshipping. Devil worshipping or Satanism is not synonymous with atheism. As I have previously defined atheism, it is a disbelief in supernatural beings. Supernatural beings include both the supposed good supernatural being, which in Christianity would be God, and the supposed bad supernatural being, i.e. the devil. So you can see how this would be an issue. If you don't believe in something, it's kind of hard to worship what you don't believe in. Which brings me to the second most common misconception that I have come across. And that is this idea that atheists are mad at God. Again, we have the same issue that we had with the devil worshipping misconception. In order for us to be mad at God, we'd have to believe that God existed. And if we believe that God existed, then that takes us out of the atheism category. A third common misconception is this idea that atheists have not read the Bible or read other religious texts. And while it's not a requirement to become an atheist through a deconversion process, if you will, many of us grew up in religious households, particularly here in America. And we were exposed to the religion of our parents, and we are familiar with many of the stories in the Bible or in the Quran or whatever religion our parents chose to indoctrinate us with. Hence, using a religious text to support your claim that your supernatural being exists will not be too effective. In fact, for some of us, it was the religious text, it was the reading of the religious text from cover to cover that led us to atheism. A fourth misconception is this idea that atheists are inherently evil or immoral or don't have a code of ethics to follow because they don't believe in any supernatural being. They have nobody to answer to. And this is a serious misconception. Society sets its norms. Most religious people do not follow their religion to the T. We've seen this all the time with the Bible, for instance. It's treated like an a la carte book. Oh, we don't really want to talk about the slavery and the rape and all of these things that have been determined to be ills of society, but we're going to follow the supposed good parts of the Bible. Well, then you're really not following the Bible. You're following the social norms. And it's the same social norms that we follow as atheists. A fifth common misconception is this idea that atheism is a religion. As I defined earlier, atheism is simply a disbelief. A religion is a set of beliefs. The problem here is that when a person identifies themselves as an atheist, you know nothing about what they actually believe, as opposed to when a person identifies themselves by a particular religion. For instance, Christianity. When a person identifies himself as a Christian, they tend to believe that A, there's a God, B, they follow the Bible, C, they believe in Jesus Christ. I mean, these are things that are common among Christians. The closest that an atheist comes to identifying with a particular set of beliefs is through humanism. And though arguably you don't have to be an atheist to be a humanist, many humanists are in fact atheists, and they have a set of beliefs. So that would be more analogous to an actual religion. But atheism in and of itself is not a religion. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this helps for those that were or are confused about exactly what atheism is. And feel free to leave comments if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you for your time.
Alrighty then. Peace forever and always. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. In the name of my ancestors, I am the AngelsnupnupSEVEN. This is the reality's temple on earth. When a woman is pregnant and it is time to deliver, there's nothing that she can do that can stop it. When it's your time to urinate or have a bowel movement, you can hold and you can try to postpone, but when it's time for your body to release waste material, you must submit to that, because it's time. If you do not release, or you try to force that baby to not come into this world, or stop the elimination of feces and urine, then you poison the body. The woman that tries to stop that baby from being born
is going to have real problems. You're having real problems, America and the world, because a baby needs to be born so that new life can come into the world. But it's like when you allow yourself not to defecate, it backs up and it poisons. So now you are suffering from poison, being poisoned. That is why your world is full of chaos, mayhem, anarchy, and atrocity after atrocity, horror after horror. But also, the birth of a baby is a joyous time. To relieve yourself brings you contentment and happiness to get rid of that filth that was trapped inside your body. I'm happy because as I journey through YouTube, you have the usual people, the ones that believe in the religious belief systems and the political systems and all these things that are the poisons. But slowly but surely, rising up every day are people who are becoming self-thinkers. They're breaking out of that mold religion put us in. They're breaking out of the mold that politics placed upon us. They don't want to hear about God. They don't want to hear about what this politician is saying and doing. They want to deal with their reality. They are tired of being lied to and deceived. All over YouTube you see the videos. So I don't know why people concentrate on me when I'm not the only voice. There are a lot of voices on YouTube. You got militia who speak against the government. Caucasian people who are sick and tired of the United States government. They got guns and they're ready at any time to go to war with the government because they understand that the government of America is corrupt. And y'all living in a fictional fantasy world because you really don't know what's happening because you're able to drive your little funky car. You can pay your bills a little bit. But that's not what it's all about. These people see the future and they want the best for their babies, and the government is not working on what is best for the children of America. The Catholic Church is crying because nobody want to be a priest no more. All over religion, nobody want to be the sheikhs no more. They don't want to be the ministers and pastors no more. The only reason why religion is doing as well as it's doing now because of the older people. And when they die out, it's over. This is a whole new day and time. That's why I exist. Because I'm a sign of what's to come. I'm to bring us back into our reality. It's facts. We only want facts. We don't care about belief no more. We can wait for the truth. You don't have to go running around looking for truth. Truth will reveal itself in its own due time. So deal with what you've been given instead of making crap up. And begin to depend on yourself instead of looking for some creature out of the sky to come do something for you. Because you and me, we have more capabilities than we think. But we become dependent upon these forces, whether it be God or government. Two things that's bad for us. They are bad for us because we don't think for ourselves. It's wonderful. What is called atheism is rising more and more. Why is atheism rising? First of all, what is atheism? Atheism is mockery of people who don't believe in God, because these religious people want to control everything. So they make mockery of those who don't see things the way they do, because they want you to be in a box so you can be easily controlled. Because those who are not in the box see better. Those who are trapped in the box of political idea and religious dogma can only see what those who are in leadership position give them to see. They don't see or accept their reality. Well, as a Christian, I think this. As a Muslim, I want to know what you think. I don't care what, as a Christian, I already know what a Christian might think. I already know what a Muslim might think, or a Buddhist. Or I'm an American. I already know how you're supposed to think that way. I want to know how you think for a change. That's why you can't deal with me. Because I already know how you think. You have no choice but to talk about my clothes or my sunglasses or something infantile and trivial. Because you can't deal with the question. You can't see. You trapped in darkness. You are the one that should be wearing the shade, because you have been made blind and you enjoy it. But there's a freedom. I can't explain it. When you reject all these religious belief systems, including the moon landing, let go of everything that you thought you knew and start from scratch, your eyes will open up and you say, wow, you won't believe what you'll be able to see. That's why they want to keep you a slave in religion, keep you a slave in politics. So these devils and these real demons, you won't be able to see. In fact, you will help them exploit you. That's not happening here. If you like to be exploited and you want somebody, and you want to be somebody's slave, don't come here, because I'm here to free your mind. You don't have to agree with nothing I say. But I want you to think for yourself. And after your own research, after you do your own thing, if you come to the conclusion that the government and these religious belief systems have come, then that's good. But I doubt it. You won't come to their conclusion, because what they do is designed to exploit and benefit themselves. It's not designed to help the average person and us. I'm so happy that many young Caucasian people and young black people, the younger generation, is breaking out of that nonsense. Because they see the trickery and the fraud and the falsehood, how fake y'all are. I love it. And that's why you're angry at me, because you can't stop it. Name calling, name calling don't do nothing. This was and is the reality's temple on earth. And y'all can't stop this one. So you just better enjoy the damn ride. Peace.
It's like, picture everything you thought was good was really bad. Everything bad was really good. What if heaven was on earth? The whole world vice versa. Vice versa.
Alright, so it's September 15th, 2010. We're coming up on the third week of working on this whole black atheist story. And I guess one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing is the fact that the atheists that I'm finding don't really reflect what I feel the typical student is at FAM, or what I feel the typical African American really represents. I guess a more straightforward way of saying that is that the black atheists I'm finding act white. And while I know that may sound ignorant or stereotypical, I'm just trying to be honest and make sure that when my reader picks up my article, they're not like, oh, I can't even relate to this person. They have all white friends, they go to FAM, but they act like they go to Florida State, and they listen to white music, and they skateboard on the weekends and stuff, and it's not even something that I can relate to. So I guess my biggest challenge is trying to find black atheists who still identify with black culture. And even though I know there's more than one way to do that, and I'm not trying to put a limit on us as people, it's very, very important that the reader identify with the atheists that I interview, because that's what's really going to drive this story home. This is something that not a lot of African Americans deal with. Most of us are religious, so it's just very important that I find someone that we can identify with. And that's it.
Peace forever and always. This is your brother, Taalik Ibn'rad, and welcome once again to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth. And of course, I'm the AngelsnupnupSEVEN, the Master of Ceremonies here, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. We live in a confused, violent, horrific, chaotic world. Violence is around us 24 hours a day. It is a shame that we, having an average living in America about 75 years of life, that we have to live with these things. Not only in America, but around the world. Constant rape and murder, extreme violence. And this has affected not only the human being, but it has affected animal life. And it has affected the planet itself. And when it begins to affect the planet itself, then the human family is placing him or herself in danger, because if the planet begins to change in a way that will no longer support our lives, then we are doomed for extinction. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell us that it seems if we continue on the path that we are walking, then extinction is the ultimate conclusion to the human being. But those who are in power don't care. They smile and they continue to war. They smile and shake your hands and tell you about peace and love, and they continue to throw bombs and shoot bullets. They continue to rape and murder and lie and cheat. How can all this happen when we have religion all over the world? And the main ones that are doing these things claim and profess, and the people behind them allowing their babies to participate in wars and murder, chaos, and violence. How is this possible? This thing has been going on for thousands of years now. And you say that you want an end to it, you want a solution to this problem, not only in the United States, but around the world. In church, we say Jesus has the answer. In the mosque, we say that Muhammad is the answer. Allah is the answer. Some of us give our money. Money is the answer. Some of us might say education is the answer. And we've been doing these and using these solutions for the last some thousands of years. And your condition has worsened. If you have a rash on your skin and you put something on it and it makes the rash worse, you don't keep putting the same ointment on the rash, but that's what we have done. Because clearly these things have not worked. But the thing that might work, that we don't like to take, because it's nasty, it's something that's unacceptable, but usually, like castor oil, when I was a little boy, some of y'all might know what castor oil is. It's some nasty, nasty, tasty stuff. But usually if you take that castor oil and whatever's ailing you, it'll stop it. It'll make you laugh. And you'll be spitting for a long time, but it solves the problem. Matter of fact, you might even grow to like castor oil because it helped alleviate what was ailing you. I'm saying this just to say that you tried everything under the sun and it has not worked. You tried everything except one thing and you try to stay the hell away from it. But it might be the solution to your problem, and that is what is called atheism. Atheism? Yes, atheism. If you tried all your religious belief systems, your money, your education, why atheism? Why would atheism or realism be the answer to the problem? Because it has not been tried before. Your Bible says that your God will bring in a new heaven and a new earth, and all the former things will pass away. It is because if you're going to try something new, all of the old must be forgotten. And see, this is another thing I don't understand about your God that you say that you claim that you believe in. Why would God flood the earth out with the situation with Noah, rain for 40 days and 40 nights, to start all over again because his first try at having decent human beings did not work? So he decided to flood them out and start all over again. But then when he brought men and humankind back, he did the same thing that he did. That's why he had to start all over from scratch again. But then he brought and did the same thing and got the same result. So now you're talking about how God is going to destroy it next time with fire and all. That's because you continue to do the same thing. You have to X out all of what was old and bring in the new. Atheism is not new. It's old thinking, but it has not been tried. Accepting your reality and only that which your brain can detect. Nothing outside of it has never been tried. When a person atheist. He thinks for himself. There are no boundaries in religion or in the belief in having money. All these things block your mentality where you can only think money or religion. You can't go outside of the box. But when you become an atheist, when you accept your reality, it makes your mind open up to all possibility. Ain't that what God's supposed to be about? He's a God of all possibility, all things. But when you allow your mind just to be set in stone in one form of thought, how can you attain all possibility? It's impossible. Look at your world. Who are the ones behind the chaos, behind the trouble? Is it the atheists? No, it's not. Is it the realists? No, it's not. It is those who looking for money, looking for to spread their religious doctrine. That's what they're fighting over. That's what they're killing over. These are the things that cause your problems. How are you going to solve your problem with that which caused it? Whether you like it or not, and I'm telling you, atheism, realism is the answer. If you're not thinking or willing to try atheism or realism, I'm not saying be an atheist, but the thought process, except the thought process of being able to think outside of your box. If you're not willing to accept the reality that your own thinking caused this, then the only thing you'll be doing is complaining and taking this to another generation, and eventually the human being will become extinct. Take that or let it alone. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the reality's temple on earth. Believe that.
Okay, it's Sunday, September 5th, 2010. Went to my second atheist meeting earlier this morning, and during the course of the week I've been trying to find more black atheists on campus because I feel like that's really going to give the story more focus and make it more relatable. So I was able to find someone, kind of a well-known writer for the paper, and someone that I had worked with before and just never really knew that they were a non-believer. So I was able to actually sit down and talk with him this week. And one of the things that's the most interesting about his whole journey is that he still attends church on a regular basis. And I found that really interesting, and how he could, go to church and sing in the choir and, not believe in God. So that really just hit home, like how big of a deal religion is culturally for African Americans, and that it's so much more than a religion. It's a way of life. Religion is a way of life. So that definitely just opened my eyes, and hope to bring you guys more on my experience. Alright, so it's September 15th, 2010. I'm coming up on the third week of working on this whole black atheist story, and I guess one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing is the fact that the atheists that I'm finding don't really reflect what I feel the typical student is at FAM, or what I feel the typical African American really represents. I guess a more straightforward way of saying that is that the black atheists I'm finding act white. And while I know that may sound ignorant or stereotypical, I'm just trying to be honest and make sure that when my reader picks up my article, they're not like, oh, I can't even relate to this person. They have all white friends. They go to FAM, but they act like they go to Florida State, and they listen to white music, and they skateboard on the weekends and stuff, and it's not even something that I can relate to. So I guess my biggest challenge is trying to find black atheists who still identify with black culture. And even though I know there's more than one way to do that, and I'm not trying to put a limit on us as people, it's very, very important that the reader identify with the atheists that I interview, because that's what's really going to drive this story home. This is something that not a lot of African Americans deal with. Most of us are religious, so it's just very important that I find someone that we can identify with. And that's it. All right, September 25th, 2010. I think one of the biggest parts of this story is really exploring the difference between right and wrong and where those two boundaries sort of cross. And I would think one of the biggest issues that I've come across ethically so far is one of the people that I've interviewed, how they are atheists but still participating in church activities and singing, go as far as like singing in the choir and things like that, or being really heavily involved and being leaders sometimes in the church. That just really, brought up, is it okay to do that as, as a profession or just as a hobby without actually believing in God? Are you manipulating the people that you're working with? And while it might be important for you culturally, is it really fair to the people that actually believe in what you're saying? I know I would feel a lot of personal contradictions doing something like that. I wouldn't lead an atheist meeting, or and I wouldn't lead another religious service, because it's just not how the way that I identify with it. So I'm really curious to see what you all have to say, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so it's October 10th, 2010, and this whole atheist journey is finally coming to a close. Story's done. It's ready to be put out in the book. Hopefully you'll see it around homecoming sometime. And I'll just say overall this experience has just been really eye-opening, and it's taught me to go back and learn some more about my own faith and really challenge myself and push myself and ask those tough questions of why I do choose to be a Christian and what it really means to, what faith really means to African Americans, which is why I wanted to do this whole project in the first place. So if you've been watching my videos, thanks so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate all the support I've been getting in person and online. So that's it. Thanks again. Bye.
The famed pastor of a Georgia megachurch says he will fight allegations that he lured young men into sexual relationships.
I have never in my life portrayed myself as a perfect man. But I am not the man that's being portrayed on the television. That's not me. That is not me.
In his first public appearance since 4 men filed suit against him, Bishop Eddie Long didn't discuss specifics of the lawsuits or flatly deny the allegations.
I've been accused. I'm under attack. I want you to know, as I said earlier, I am not a perfect man. But this thing, I'm going to fight.
2 of the men were members of a church youth program. They claim Long gave them gifts and took them on trips to seduce them. Long has been an outspoken opponent of gay marriage, and his church has counseled gay members to become straight. Authorities have said they will not investigate the allegations because all 4 accusers were 17 and 18 when their relationships with Long began, older than Georgia's age of consent, which is 16. Long, a married father of 4, spoke to cheers of support.
I feel like David against Goliath. But I got 5 rocks, and I haven't thrown one yet.
Long poked fun at the media attention on him and his 25,000-member congregation, welcoming them to Sunday services and saying that he would be back next Sunday. But at a post-service appearance, he made only a brief statement.
I am not going to address the allegations and the attack that's been levied upon me at this moment, because, again, as I stated earlier in the service, you know, I would want this to be dealt in the court of justice and not by public opinion.
Several church members told the AP they plan to stand behind their pastor.
I chant while candles burn with robes on, you will learn. Christian, no Hebrew on the balcony, I see you. I chant while candles burn with robes on, you will learn. Christian, no Hebrew on the balcony, I see you. I chant while candles burn with robes on, you will learn. Christian, no Hebrew on the balcony, I see you. I chant while candles burn with robes on, you will learn. Christian, no Hebrew on the balcony, I see you.
Talk about atheism in the black community. I'm often asked why I make a distinction between black atheism and atheism in general. I feel that the distinction is necessary because of the unique relationship that religion shares within the black community. Religion is so deeply ingrained in black culture that oftentimes it is very difficult, or some even argue impossible, to sever the two. Every time we as blacks have been able to overcome something in the past, we have been told that it's due to the blessings of our sky daddy. For instance, the reason why we overcame slavery is because our sky daddy carried us through it. Or the reason why we were somewhat successful during the civil rights movement is because our sky daddy helped us through that. Even during present day, when the black community decides to come together to combat some social issue, we are told not to forget to praise our sky daddy or we won't be able to get through that event. Now this makes it very difficult for black atheists who do recognize that there are issues within the black community and do want to assist, but don't want to have to subscribe to the religion aspect of it. And oftentimes religion has nothing to do with the issue at hand. On another note, I know I personally like to go to social events, local atheist events. In my experience, I have always been the only black person at these events. I have talked to a couple of other black atheists who obviously don't reside in my area, who said that they have experienced, they have had similar experiences. When a black atheist decides to come out, not only are their views not well received, but they essentially commit social suicide. Their family turns their back on them. Their community turns their back on them. And when they go to social events, they're the only ones in the room that are of their kind. And this is why we literally feel all alone when we come out. Now, I will say that the situation has been somewhat mitigated through social sites such as MySpace and Facebook and obviously YouTube, where we've been able to communicate with others who have had similar experiences on their path to atheism. This is not to say that individuals from other cultures don't face some type of resentment or are told to attribute positive things to God or the like and negative things to the devil or the like, but I don't feel that other cultures have religion as closely linked to their culture as does the black community. Hence, we as black atheists not only have to address the issues within the atheist community at large, but we also have to address the issues within the black community.
Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe, swaying till the Milky Way. The world's out of sight. Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe, far that I can see not even a satellite. Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe, swaying till the Milky Way. The world's out of sight. Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe, far that I can see not even a satellite.
Hi YouTube, this is Taalik Ayana, and I just thought it was about time for me to show my face and do an introductory video. Well, I think what inspired me to do a video is the fact that I am atheist. I'm a black atheist, and I've been on YouTube and I've commented on a lot of people's posts, and I don't have any videos up, so I'm not going to go into details about anything on this video. I'm just going to, the purpose of this is just to introduce myself to the atheist community and the black atheist community. Before I came onto YouTube and started looking at people's videos, I was very unaware of the, I guess, the contradiction, so to speak, of being black and atheist. For a better part of my life, I was agnostic. You know, I went to church. I was part of, we practiced as a child, different denominations. We practiced Methodist, Baptist, which is kind of pretty much the same, Mormonism, Muslim, and we were Mormon from the time I was like 12, I want to say, up until I left the house. And I really haven't been back to church since I left. I couldn't wait to stop going. It was more like a routine than anything else for me. Well, my journey to atheism, like I said, I was agnostic for a good part of my life. And I think my most compelling memory of me having some doubts about Christianity comes from when I was a child. And my mother made us watch a movie, and it was Easter time, and Jesus walked on water. And I'm sitting here like, really? If he walked on water, why can't I walk on water? So I know a couple of days later it rained, and I'm outside, and it's a puddle of water, and I'm standing there trying to walk on water like Jesus did. And I was just like, you know, I can't walk on water, he didn't walk on water. And as a child, I didn't have an imagination. You couldn't tell me there were mermaids. You couldn't tell me Santa existed. I didn't believe any of that. I think I just had, you know, my BS radars up at a very young age. And so it was a lot of things that, you know, I was very inquisitive, and I always asked questions. I needed to know the details, the ifs, ands, wheres, and why, and how. And if you couldn't answer that stuff, then I was skeptical. And throughout my young adult life, like I said, I was agnostic. I did believe in a higher being. I just didn't know what that was. But I just knew that Christianity was not the way or the path that I wanted to follow. My biggest problems I had with Christianity was the Bible, the Jesus figure. And when I was in high school, I had this epiphany when I was in an English class, and they were talking about we were talking mythology, Greek mythology, and we were talking about, you know, Hercules and all these deities that were worshipped during ancient Roman times. And I'm sitting in class, I'm like, so you're telling me that, this is what I asked my teacher, I'm like, so you're telling me that these people worship these gods, these sun gods and moons and, you know, all this stuff, with this, you know, with the same love or devotion as people in America worship Jesus and God? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, I mean, how can we go back in time and tell these people that these gods didn't exist? And this was their belief system. I mean, are they being punished for that? Who knows? So that was one of my issues. I guess was the comparative religion aspect of religion, period. Another issue I had, like I said, was the Bible. There's so many inconsistencies in the Bible. There's so many contradictions. And I didn't understand how a Bible or any type of scriptures or work that was prepared through the work of a supreme being who's supposed to be all-powerful, you know, who can do any and everything, but apparently he's illiterate, maybe. stupid, maybe. I mean, he couldn't even instruct these people that he created to write a coherent book. I don't know. Then you have these apologetics and these fundamentalists that say that you can't take the Bible literally. I mean, come on now. Was this guy just trying to confuse us? I mean, is this God just trying to confuse us? Like, you write a book, but hey, this book you don't take literally. It's up to you to translate it and interpret it the way that I wanted you to write it. Come on now. This isn't, I mean, that's pretty much what fiction is all about. You know, fiction is full of symbolism and allegories, and it leaves a lot of room for interpretation. The only way that you can come close to understanding what a book of fiction is if you have some insight and understanding about the perspective and the perspective of which the work or the literature was written on. And in this case of the Bible, you have to understand the time and the history of the people during that age, during that period. I mean, some people may not understand what I just said, but, you know, some people, you see me, we get each other. So, I think that the Bible has been taken out of context. And, you know, like apologetics say, I agree with them. You can't take the Bible literally. You know, if you take the Bible literally, then you're going to say Adam and Eve populated the human race. That's incest. I mean, morally, I don't think that that's acceptable. So I'm not going to go into details about anything. I just want you guys to know that, you know, there are, you know, black atheists out there. I think a lot of black people just don't voice their doubts or suspicions. It's just easier for them to go along with it. And that's another issue that I have with people in general. You know, you have some people right here who are just lazy, or just don't have the self-confidence to challenge things that they're being taught or that people are telling them is the truth. And I guess that's something else that we can get into at a different time. So with that all said and done, you know, if you want to subscribe, you can. I'm going to come out with some real videos in a couple of weeks. But until then, I see you later. Have a good one. Bye.
I am here to talk about atheism and the black community. I'm often asked why I make a distinction between black atheism and atheism in general. I feel that the distinction is necessary because of the unique relationship that religion shares within the black community. Religion is so deeply ingrained in black culture that oftentimes it is very difficult, or some even argue impossible, to sever the two. Every time we as blacks have been able to overcome something in the past, we have been told that it's due to the blessings of our sky daddy. For instance, the reason why we overcame slavery is because our sky daddy carried us through it. Or the reason why we were somewhat successful during the civil rights movement is because our sky daddy helped us through that. Even during present day, when the black community decides to come together to combat some social issue, we are told not to forget to praise our sky daddy or we won't be able to get through that event. Now this makes it very difficult for black atheists who do recognize that there are issues within the black community and do want to assist, but don't want to have to subscribe to the religion aspect of it. And oftentimes religion has nothing to do with the issue at hand. On another note, I know I personally like to go to social events, local atheist events. In my experience, I have always been the only black person at these events. I have talked to a couple of other black atheists who obviously don't reside in my area who said that they have experienced, they have had similar experiences. When a black atheist decides to come out, not only are their views not well received, but they essentially commit social suicide. Their family turns their back on them. Their community turns their back on them. And when they go to social events, they're the only ones in the room that are of their kind. And this is why we literally feel all alone when we come out. Now, I will say that the situation has been somewhat mitigated through social sites such as MySpace and Facebook and obviously YouTube, where we've been able to communicate with others who have had similar experiences on their path to atheism. This is not to say that individuals from other cultures don't face some type of resentment or are told to attribute positive things to God or the like and negative things to the devil or the like, but I don't feel that other cultures have religion as closely linked to their culture as does the black community. Hence, we as black atheists not only have to address the issues within the atheist community at large, but we also have to address the issues within the black community. Hi, my name is Ayana, and I am going to share with you some of the wonderful mail that I've received from various believers who want to share the word of their respective God with me. So stay tuned, and I'll go through some of my correspondence with you.
Prayer move, prayer. Don't you even go there. Me without a mic is like a bee without a snare. I dare to tear into your ego. We go way back like some ganja and Palico.
So my first one reads, I don't believe in your hell, Daddy. Oh, you are a godless, cold, and bitter person. It just warms my heart. Atheists are empty, lifeless, and lonely people. Remove God and you invite with an E, the devil, evil. So nice and warm, and gosh, why would I not want to believe in a God with followers like this? I mean, I must be stupid. Which conveniently leads me to my second YouTuber, who I've had a bit of correspondence with. And he writes, the evidence is clear, YouTube. Atheists are stupid. They cannot prove or disprove anything. None of them have brought proof to discredit what I said. Only dumb faggot shit. He goes on to describe me as the most vile, disgusting YouTuber and human, and even laughs out loud afterward. As I said, we had a number of back and forth correspondence. And just to put this in perspective, I have a video that talks about black atheists being underrepresented in the atheist community and going to a number of atheist events and being the only black in the room, and how I wanted to change that, which is one of the main reasons for why I started the organization Black Atheists of America. So in response to that video, he writes, something gotta be wrong with you if all the fucking atheist rallies you go to is crackers and you don't think for 1 minute, wait, maybe I am not supposed to be here. You is a dumb bitch. If you end up hog-tied with a ball in your mouth and fucked by 10 crackers...
Here, give me that whip. Take this, you dog.
I bet then you would cry for your sky daddy. Sorry for the awkward pauses. There's a lot of text type in here and improper grammar.
Angina. Angina. You know what Jana is, don't you? Yeah. You see, you're conjectulating your verbs and reaming your fibula. Impeach me.
But nevertheless, he's a good, fun-loving Christian, as he describes himself. And the final correspondence comes from a Facebooker who randomly sends me an unsolicited note. And he writes, you're one dumb bitch if you don't believe in God. You're going to hell. I thanked him for his kind words and asked him to do something positive with his time. He writes, this is positive, laughing my ass off. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, and in big capital letters writes the word bitch, and then writes LOL. So I say, spreading hatred and calling me a bitch is not positive. And he writes, I'm a Christian. I will be forgiven. Laughing my ass off. But for you, all of your sins will be held against you. Duh! What happened in your life to make you not believe in God? Don't answer. I got it. A man. Wow. All women are the same. Isn't he so sweet? I mean, out of all the possibilities for why I wouldn't want to believe in his respective God, he pulls out that it must have been a man that got me to where I am today. The correspondence goes on, and basically he continues to insult me, and I explain that education is what got me to where I am today. But nevertheless, I guess I should be happy that so many of these God's followers are willing to spread their wonderful experiences with me and curse me out and use derogatory language to help spread the positive, so-called positive word of their gods. Well, thank you for your time, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel. I look forward to our correspondence. Thanks. How does one come out as an atheist? The simple response, come out. I think a better way to pose a question is, how does one come out as an atheist and maintain a social life, especially black atheists? Unfortunately, I don't think there's a simple solution to the problem. Anytime there's a school of thought that differs from mainstream society, it's only through time and, more importantly, education that school of thought will even be considered, and even more time and education to get that school of thought to be accepted. For instance, it was once widely believed that the world was flat. It was only through time and education that it became common knowledge that the world is in fact round. The first obstacle that we need to overcome in the black community is to get the community to understand atheism as a school of thought. When a person in a black community says, I don't believe in your sky daddy, I believe in my own, that's seen as acceptable. When an atheist says, I don't believe in your sky daddy, and stops there, we're seen as evil. Now, essentially, these two people have said the same thing. I don't believe in your sky daddy. I think Stephen Roberts said it best when he stated, I contend that we are both atheists. I just believe in one fewer God than you do. I think the best way to overcome this obstacle is through exposure. We as atheists need to be more vocal in our neighborhoods. We need to be more organized in our neighborhoods. But the main thing is basically to get black atheists out in their community and vocal in their community. One of the problems that we have is when we are active in the atheist community, it's outside of the black community, leaving the black community ignorant of what atheism truly is. I think the second obstacle that we need to overcome is education. I consider this actually to be a more pertinent issue. I would think that we really need to extend our efforts on educating the youth on religion and as a whole, not simply Christianity. The origins of religion, maybe they can have a comparative culture class offered in high school. I would love for it to be mandated, but at minimum, at least have it as an elective in black schools so that kids could start to think critically long before they enter into full-blown adulthood. I think without overcoming these two obstacles, exposure in the black community and education in the black community, we won't be able to come out as black atheists and maintain a social life.
Hi, what's up YouTube? I decided to do another blog because something happened the other day that inspired me to give my opinion, which is kind of what my channel is called, is Talking Black Opinions. So the other day I was on Facebook, it's obviously not like a serious kind of thing. And a friend had a status that said, I'm going to go to hell because I'm an atheist, basically. And, I posted, I'm going to go to hell too, technically, because I am an atheist as well. And it ended up being this 70-comment long status of people flaming one another, to the point where it's excessive and ridiculous, to the point where it was like they were saying, the opposition was saying, your life has no purpose and or meaning without God. And I guess my blog today is going to be about why I am an atheist and why I choose to believe it, and why I respect other people's religions, and why it bothers me when people don't respect mine. Growing up, I was raised Baptist, and I was raised to believe that there was a God, and He's very much real, and there's hell who don't believe in God. And up to the point where I was about 7, I believed that. But then when I was, growing up more and more, getting my own decisions, getting my own choices, making up my own mind, I realized that, none of it, I didn't really believe it. I just didn't believe it. There's things that happen in my life, and people around me that make me question any sort of God, because there's just, looking at the world today, the idea that God has created this path for me, I just don't believe it. And looking at my family members, my brother who's sick and he's schizophrenic, and my mom has really, she's been forced to raise all these kids by herself, basically, because my father's not in the picture. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And the person who wanted me to be Baptist so badly is my biological father, who claims to be a really godly man, at the same time cheated my mom, and he just has done choices in life that I definitely don't think is what a real Christian would do. Why I respect Christianity is because I believe a true message of Christianity is love and appreciation for something larger than yourself. I think that's applaudable. I think that's amazing. But I think that there are people in this world who decide to abuse that faith and or use it as an excuse for things such as gay marriage, which I'm a very, very, very avid supporter of. I think everyone to get married. And it's not about religion, it's about laws. But I feel as if people use that as an excuse against things that they don't necessarily agree with in order to open their heart and mind to. I think that a lot of people who are extremely, extremely Christian usually are people who have more hatred in their soul than I can even imagine. But then there's also those Christians out there who, I'm not saying that's the majority who are evil. I'm saying that there are those people, there are also other Christians who believe in love and, believing in something that's real. But why I want to be respected as an atheist is that I will never be convinced that there's a God. Never. I will honestly never, ever be convinced of that. And I would never try to convince someone else that there isn't a God, because it's not their belief. And you know what? Good for you if you believe in God. Awesome for you. I just don't. And I ask for that same respect in return, that if I'm not going to try to lecture you about your beliefs, don't lecture you about mine, how I'm going to spend eternity in hell because I don't believe in something, and that my life is empty without it. My life is full, and it is rich, and it is happy. But people who tell me that my life is meaningless without God, maybe that's a reason for you to re-examine your life and determine if there's anything in meaning in your life that you find with the passion. And if there isn't, then maybe you should re-examine who you are and not point a finger at other people. So basically, this was about atheism, why I am an atheist and why I believe in it. I believe in it because that's my choice. I believe in it because I have not seen anything that proves otherwise. I believe in it because I've seen things that disprove it to me. I believe in it because basically it's a path I chose, and you shouldn't question anyone else's path besides your own. So that's my blog for today. It's about atheism and respect, because I respect your point of view as long as you respect mine. I don't know what the next one's going to be on. Probably something like racism or Carl's God or anything like that. So comment your beliefs down below, and because I know this is really sensitive talk for a lot of people. I know it's hard not to get really pumped up about religion because it's such a big deal for a lot of people, but it's just something I ask. So comment your beliefs down below, and tell me why you believe what you believe, and we will duke it out, I guess. A little debate here, respectfully, without questioning another person's life. Alright, thanks guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want.
Hey girl, what are you up to?
Nothing much. About to watch a Black Atheist of America video.
Oh, I'm done with that.
Cool. Hey look, the show is coming on. Wow, I love Jermaine's beats and I have a girl crush on Ayanna.
Oh my god, right? That's funny.
When 9/11 took place, the very next day, the media came out and stated that religious fundamentalists were responsible for flying the planes into the Twin Towers. There are a myriad of possibilities which could be used to explain what went down on 9/11. For instance, it could have been the Tooth Fairy, or it could have been little green monsters, or even Barney could have been responsible. But for some reason, we didn't entertain any of these possibilities. Yet we readily accepted the religious fundamentalist explanation. Now, why is it that we were willing to accept the religious fundamentalist theory as opposed to any of the others? The reason is there's plenty of evidence to support such a claim. We can point to many different events throughout history in which religious fundamentalists were responsible for similar acts. On the other hand, there's absolutely no evidence to support the claim that Barney or the Tooth Fairy or Little Green Monsters were responsible for the events that occurred on 9/11. Now, this might seem obvious, but this essentially is the same argument as the creationism versus evolution. There are many people fighting still today that creationism should be taught alongside evolution because they are supposedly equally as probable. And this, of course, is based on the argument that we are to consider all possibilities. However, creationists and supporters of creationism don't actually want you to entertain all possibilities. They want you to entertain their possibility. Because, if we were to really go into all the possibilities, it's an infinite number. And I don't see people knocking down doors to say, hey, Barney is responsible for why we are where we are today. I just want to note that these parents that are fighting to have creationism in their child's school are not doing this to be vindictive. I honestly believe that they are sincere and that they want their children to have the best educational opportunities that are available to their children. Likewise, when religious fundamentalists do extreme acts, I believe that they aren't inherently evil per se, but that they are doing it because they believe that they are supporting some type of higher being, and that this is what you're supposed to do in order to promote that agenda.
What a person believes about how human beings were created shapes what they believe about human beings. That if we believe that human beings were created out of love, that is, by a loving creator, and has given each one of us not only a material body, but a spirit and a soul, we then are more likely to treat other people with respect and dignity.
So we can see how dangerous it is to teach our children to equate a hypothesis with no evidence against a well-established scientific theory. It is because of these dangers that Black Atheists of America has created its after-school program in which our main goal is to sharpen the critical thinking skills of the youth that participates in the program. Also, obviously, help them with homework assignments and stuff like that. But the main goal of the program is to truly sharpen the critical thinking skills and offer the next generation the best educational opportunities that are available to them. We can do much better than what we are offering our kids. If you would like more information, feel free to visit our website at www.blackatheistofamerica.org. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. And until next time, thank you for listening. After my first couple of videos, I received correspondence asking, why do I make such a big deal out of religion? Why don't I let religious people believe what they want to believe? I have my disbelief, and everybody lives in this big, happy world. I have been accused of attacking people because they have a belief system. I don't know anybody without a belief system. It's just that some people arrive at their belief system without any regard to critical thinking. Religion is dangerous. In the name of theism, there have been countless wars, suicides, denial of civil rights. Just recently, we had a lady who denied her daughter a blood transfusion because it was against her religious beliefs. The doctors had to go and get a court order in order to perform the procedure. And if that's not enough, in Oregon, there's a graveyard, literally a graveyard of children who have been denied medical services because their parents rely on faith healing instead of modern science. In Texas, we had parents who wanted to rid their child's body of evils. They performed an exorcism on him. As a result of the exorcism, he had massive bruising, over 24 bite marks on his body, and subsequently died. Why do I speak out against religion? Why do I have a problem with religion? Because religion is dangerous.
Look, she bending over. Lord, the Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. Excuse me, brother. Miss Parker.
Would I ever date a Christian? That is a question that I often come across, so I decided to do a video about it. The answer is it depends, but generally no. And I usually explain that kids tend to be an issue in these type of relationships. The follow-up question is, well, don't you want them to be exposed to both? And that question is a very interesting question. The thing that I find interesting about that follow-up question is that I have every intention of exposing them to quote-unquote both. But there's this misconception that both is Christianity, in my experience. I haven't had the conversation with any other group, and atheism. And I can tell that when the question is posed, that individual believes that I am somehow intending to put that child at a disadvantage by not giving them more opportunities to choose the religion or lack thereof to follow. And that cannot be further from the truth. But what I'm being accused of doing, i.e. Depriving that child of the opportunity to be exposed to something outside of atheism, is something that almost every religion is guilty of. Most people are not exposed to multiple religions in their household. It's usually you're indoctrinated with the religion of your parents. And you're not really exposed to the 4,400 other religions that are practiced around the world, the over 750 million gods that have been practiced throughout history. And this is usually the story of the person posing the question. They're a Christian and their parents are Christian, and they haven't been exposed to many other religions. And if they have been exposed to other religions, it was usually long after they had been properly indoctrinated by their parents, and so they were already programmed to dismiss other religions as obviously wrong or frivolous. I have every intention of exposing my future child to religion to the extent necessary to understand other areas of study, i.e. history. I believe it is impossible to teach history without explaining religion and the impact that religion has had on history. The same goes for current events with politics and social issues. You have to expose your child to religion, in my opinion, to understand these issues. But you don't need to say that, oh, well, this religion is superior to this religion because of no evidence. So I started this video with the question, would I ever date a Christian? And I said that it depends. So it would depend upon them understanding that their beliefs are equivalent to every other religion that has ever been practiced. That they understand that there's no evidence to support their belief system. And for obvious reasons, that would be very hard to come across. As a matter of fact, I've of course never met a Christian like that. I don't see why they would still be a Christian if they felt that way. And that is my long-winded answer as to why it is highly unlikely that I would date a Christian or a theist of any sort. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to leave comments. And if you have any topic ideas, feel free to inbox me, or you can write in the comments section. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth. Your host is His Divine Masculine Brother AdMinister Taalik Ibn'rad.